Basketball fans, welcome back. So it's been 2 weeks since we saw the Afrobasket tip off, window 3, and that time I was covering the Kenya Morans, but I was keeping you guys updated on the social media, on the scores, but we didn't get a chance to talk about this, and that's why I'm here. So before we start, like, share, subscribe to the channel. I mean, I'm enjoying the support I'm receiving on this channel, so help a brother out. Hit the bell to get notified because a lot of videos of this nature are gonna come your way. So without further ado, let me just get into it. So in Group A, we had Congo DR, South Sudan, Mali, and Morocco. So I'll be looking at each group from Group A all the way to Group E, and just give my thoughts and reflect on what really happened. So, Group A, we had Congo DR finishing with a 5-1 record, and they topped the group with an 83.3 win percentage. And there are those teams that I must say did the unthinkable. They're able to stop South Sudan in their tracks and remove that streak that South Sudan had in dominating African teams. So they were able to remove that and finish with a 5-1 record. But South Sudan eventually in window 3, they're able to get their get back. So Congo DR were able to beat South Sudan in window 2, and subsequently leading to that streak ending for South Sudan. But South Sudan were able to get their get back in window 3 in the last and final window, and they're able to get their revenge on Congo DR. So Congo DR, South Sudan, Mali qualified, and Morocco was the only team that didn't qualify. And it was sad because Morocco finished the 0-6 record. So, I mean, that was bad. So, Congo DR, they were being led by Jordan Sacco. So, Jordan Sacco is somebody I was monitoring because he finished off with a very good performance in the whole whole event, because he averaged a 19.4 efficiency, and he coupled it with 14.4 points and his 9.4 rebounds. So he was second in scoring and first in boards, and also in assists per game he was third. So he was somebody who was all over the place. Then we had Rolly Fulanganga, somebody who I was also monitoring as well. He finished a second in efficiency with a 10.3 efficiency, and he finished third in scoring with 12 points per game. And he was somebody that really assisted all through and through, because majority of the time Congo DR play a lot of team basketball, and it doesn't matter who even dominates statistically, but the person who is able to contribute in the team, it reflects the whole. It's a accumulation of different people doing things to make sure that the team is successful. So then you've got Claude Christian Lutete the fourth. He finished the game. He finished the games averaging 15.2 points, and he also was second in boards with 5.7 boards. So he also added a lot. And given the games that they played, they were able to dominate Mali 72-64 is the final score, going up 1-0 and taking game 1. Then that game against Morocco, I mean, Morocco were just down bad. So they got beat 74-65. Then that game against South Sudan, that game I remember I watched it live, and it was a dogfight all through. And I must say, South Sudan did put their best foot forward in that game. They had Nuni Omot then winning Gabriel, but it was not enough. And even I saw a video going viral that South Sudan, they're tired. This player in South Sudan, it was really funny. They're like, I mean, they were winning too much. What can other teams do? So there was a video that aged poorly. I remember I watched it.
It's hard. I got my brothers with me. It's hard for us to not be great. It's hard to not be great, right? It's really hard. Like, we just can't. We don't know how to do that. Like, we're number one for a reason. You hear me? So y'all need to stop all that. Stop all that playing. You feel me? Come on, man.
But hey, I mean, Congo DR capped off with a 3-0 record and beating South Sudan for the first time in years in African soil. So South Sudan tasted their first defeat in African soil, and it was a game decided by 7 points. So it was not like a brutal beatdown like that, but still, South Sudan was still good. They had a 2-1 record with Congo DR's 3-0 record. So heading into the third window, The third window, that's where all hell broke loose for teams like Morocco, because they got stomped on by Congo DR. Mali did not stand a chance like that, but the games were very close. Despite the loss to Mali, Mali losing against Congo DR, the games were still close, similar to what happened in window one. So sadly, Congo DR lost to South Sudan, and South Sudan were able to get their get back, capping off a 5-1 record. So that final game against South Sudan, I must say, Congo DR did not roll out the best team, and they didn't have the best performance, because at that time they were 5-0, so they already clinched and qualified for the Afrobasket. So there was not too much pressure, even if they lost that game. So South Sudan went ahead and pummeled them. 89-58 was the final score. So Congo DR was that team that I didn't expect them to take like the Group A, because I thought South Sudan, given like the activity, given like the high profile games that they were involved in, especially in 2024 in the Olympics, prior to the Olympics, I felt like they had the ability to go ahead and dominate, and I didn't think that there will be any problems when it came to South Sudan basketball. So I was expecting them to top the group, but hey, I mean, I apparently I thought wrong, because Congo DR just went ahead and just did the unthinkable. So South Sudan finished the 4-2 record, Congo DR 5-1. So both teams were heavyweights in this group. So Mali and Morocco 3-3, and Morocco 0-6. So heading into South Sudan. So South Sudan's campaign was quite interesting, because we got to see Noni Omo, Twinny and Gabriel start in window 2, but they didn't start in window 3. They're not available. But Lual Ausil, he was available, and he did a lot of things. So he averaged a 17.0 efficiency. He had 15 points, and he was second in rebounds with 9.7 boards. And he was that guy that was very reliable. So Lual Ausil, I knew him from his time when he played for the Al Ali Benghazi team and making it the finals. He won the MVP and Defensive Player of the Year when he played for Al Ali Benghazi. So he is somebody who was very productive, and he was a difference maker, and he was somebody who made teams think differently about attacking the rim, because he was good at defense and he was blocking shots. And I must say, in the second window, I can say the South Sudanese team were a formidable force. Just that they lost to Congo DR, but that game was close. But in this one, they were very good, and I must say, in the third and final window, there was I didn't see any weak spot, even despite the fact that they lost to Mali. There was no weak spot in South Sudan, and they will have even gone 6-0, but it is what it is. They already clinched the ticket for the Afrobasket, and they headed to their second Afrobasket. So we had other guys. We had Kur Nyor Kwath. He had a 12.5 efficiency. And we had Majok Deng. He finished with 5 boards. With Jackson McCoy, he led with 5.8 assists. So the team didn't have the services of Royal Avi at the time, but Luol Deng was able to take over at the coaching position. And South Sudan being one of the best run federations, I can say, given the fact that their national team program is good. Even South Sudan, you can look at how they were able to go ahead and put themselves in this position. Luol Deng, he did so much, and he has put so much into this national team program, both the men's and women's, because the women's, they finished number 3, and for the men, they qualified for the Afrobasket. So the women did not qualify for Afrobasket. There are a couple of wildcards that were announced. We saw Egypt and Mozambique, they got a wildcard for the women's Afrobasket, and 2 more wildcards are going to be announced. I don't know if they're going to come in Zone 5, but anyway, anything can happen. So South Sudan finished with a 4-2 record in Group A, finishing with the second seed in Group A. So they had 66.7 win percentage, following the Congo DR team. Then we have Mali. So Mali is a team that was interesting. The only teams that are able to beat the Malian team they were able to beat was Morocco. They beat Morocco twice, and they beat South Sudan, subsequently leading them to being able to qualify. So in their games was actually quite weird. So they really, really struggled to beat Congo DR and South Sudan in the window 1. And the games were clutch, especially that game against Congo DR was very clutch. Then we had the SSD versus Mali game. It was a near blowout. It was a 25-point blowout. South Sudan really beat Mali in window 2 from pillar to post. Then Mali were able to have a very clutch win in in window 2, beating Morocco 66-64. Then that was the first win that they got. Then in the third window, you could see Mali really scratched. They were really scrappy in that game against Congo DR, which ended 65-59. And they were able to get a very good upset win against South Sudan, 75-70 was the final score. It was very clutch. And, they were able to go ahead and beat Morocco again. So Congo DR was a team that brought them a lot of problems, and they were not able to win. They were 0-2 against Congo DR, but they are 1-1 against South Sudan, and they were 0-2. They were 2-0 against Mali. So subsequently leading them to qualifying. So Mali, the guy that I was really monitoring in this one was Alou Diar. So Alou Diar, he finished the 22 game efficiency. He averaged double of 13 points and 11 boards. He was somebody who was very efficient. And he's somebody who also elevated the FS Derabat team in BAL Season 4. So he is very top quality. Despite being knocked out in the first round in the BAL playoffs, he's still productive for that Malian team. And I can say Mali are truly on the rise because looking at how they played in the Afrobasket in 2021, they really had a very abysmal performance in 2021. But given their performance right now, there's a high likelihood that they can do the unthinkable. I can class them as a dark horse team, and they're that team that you don't see coming. And given like how they were playing, they might do the unthinkable and do something. They can do some serious damage. So we had Sirman Kanute. He had 13 points, and he was following Alou Diarra. Then you had Mamadou Diarra. So there he had 11 points per game. He was third in scoring. So this team is a dark horse team, and I must say this is a team that you don't expect them to do you don't expect them to do like too much, but they can pull off the upset, like the way they upset South Sudan. I even said like South Sudan were gonna go 3-0 in my thoughts when I was watching window 3, but I was so surprised to see them fall to Mali. But Mali, give credit to them, very good team. And they knew what they understood the assignment. They knew what it took to be able to beat South Sudan. They would beat them in the clutch. Then Morocco, I must say, Morocco, I can even say this is the worst outing that they had in the Afrobasket. They went 0-6. I mean, my Team Kenya was bad. They finished the 1-5 record. They didn't qualify, but this one was bad because they went 0-6. I don't know what's going on with the Moroccan national team, because the FS Derabat, they are hosting the Kalahari Conference. I was expecting at least them to ride that wave to be able to go ahead and play. But, I mean, the national team program for Morocco is just horrendous and poor. And things are not looking good for them, because if you look at how these people are playing, it was not good. And they lost all their 6 games. They got beat by South Sudan, Congo DR, and Mali twice. And the worst blowout that Morocco had was against South Sudan in their first game in window 2. So, not even window 2, but window 3. That game ended 69-37. So, it is not looking good at all. We're going to sit back as they watch teams playing the Afrobasket. And not only have they not been able to qualify for the Afrobasket, they have automatically they are disqualified from being even in the World Cup qualifiers. Because the only teams that are in the Afrobasket are the only teams that are going to be in the World Cup qualifiers. So, and no basketball until the Afrochan, similar to what's going to happen to Team Kenya. So it is what it is. So that's just a roundup for what really happened in Group A. And I was expecting South Sudan to top this group. I didn't expect Congo DR to be this dominant. But anyway, I mean, when you're facing good teams, getting an unbeaten record is very difficult. Even Congo DR learned that the hard way when they got beat in their last game against South Sudan. South Sudan got their get back at least. And the rest is history. And South Sudan, I was not expecting them to drop that game against Mali. Had the Mali team lost that game, it will be very difficult for them to qualify. But it is what it is. So I'm happy to see Group A be this exciting. And these games, they were very good through and through, especially South Sudan, Congo DR, and Mali. They are teams. There are national teams that when you watch them, you just feel excited. You don't know what to expect. There are dunks. They very much the entertainment value in basketball. So it is what it is. So do drop me your comments down in the comment section what you think about these matchups. I mean, I had a lot of fun when I was watching this, and I didn't get the chance to make videos at this time, but it is what it is. So like, share, subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Peace out.